Ben Silverio.
And I'm guest host Nicole Keating.
And I'm your host and post, Ansel Birch.
And it's time to party!
We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly.
What was that one?
I have a tiger.
Beginning of our actual song.
Oh, that's true. Yes. The love of power.
Yes,
So that we don't get sued.
Yeah. My favorite part of the show,
Legally distinct
is
from.
that song. I just love when a song is just maybe 3 steps off of the original theme.
Yes.
It's like, it's not the X-Files, but it is.
Yeah, you can't come for me, Huey Lewis. Or the news.
Or the news. The news can't come for you.
Although that'd be great if the news came for us.
It was just the news, like not Huey Lewis, and then we'd be disappointed. We'd be like, just you guys?
Where's Huey?
He had another commitment.
We're trying to get some press up here. Could you call Huey maybe?
Maybe. I mean, no one's gonna care about you guys. They're gonna be like, who? The news?
The
I thought
news?
they were fake.
As in Reuters? Like, who are we talking about?
AP?
Variety?
Oh, variety. Good poll. Good poll.
Poise?
Poise?
Poise magazine?
Poise magazine?
I've heard of her.
Or Sparkle?
I've heard of her too.
Yeah, but we don't talk about her.
Which one would you subscribe to, not knowing any of the behind the scenes drama?
I mean, if I were
their target
13-year-old
audience
girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Sparkle had that one extra tip about J-Lo.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd probably go for Sparkle based on the virtue of name alone. That it just seems like it would be marketed more towards my kind of glittery
Poise and Sparkle
personality.
feel like they've got very different targets. That's absolutely true. Like,
which is strange that they're in competition.
Right.
Poise feels more like
Elle or Vogue.
Yeah, Elle or Vogue or something, and Sparkle feels like Teen Beat or something.
Yeah.
Tiger Beat.
Or like even a Teen Vogue, something like that. Just something a little more Cosmo, something a little more frivolous.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Interesting.
You guys, why are we fighting? Girls, why are we fighting?
You could be helping each other.
They could be building each other up.
I mean, I guess they were.
Spoilers, sweetie.
Spoilers, sweetie. Spoilers.
Did you just Doctor Who me?
I did. I don't know why.
What movie are we talking about, Ben?
We are talking about the 2004 classic 13 Going on 30, starring Jennifer Garner, Mark Ruffalo, Judy Greer, and Andy Serkis for some reason.
For every reason?
He kills it. That's true. He does.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I guess back in 2004, Andy Serkis could do whatever the fuck he wants. Now, Andy Serkis is like, oh, it's the mocap guy.
I told you.
He was the mocap guy then.
He's mocap in this movie. I keep telling you guys.
Yeah.
Just as himself.
They had to CG him in, because
the suit is all CG.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's nude.
Just blue pasties. That's all he got. For the whole film.
Probably a blue merkin as well.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
You say classic, and I love that this movie has become a classic because it was written off, I feel like, at the time as like a dumb girl movie. Very similar to something like Mean Girls, where it's like, no, I'm not watching that. That's a dumb girl movie.
Yeah.
And now you put Mean Girls on TV, and everyone, regardless of gender, is like, oh, fuck yes, it's Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Because it's so, so funny.
Absolutely.
And similar, this movie is like, you put it on TV now, and I know that there are people who, like, especially like adult men, Ansel, hashtag called out, that...
You can't get more that than I am, yeah.
That you
put white in there. Adult white guy.
Adult white guy?
That's me. Mm-hmm.
With a beard.
Yeah.
The beard is a plus, though. The beard is in your favor.
That's good.
It's so validating to have people watch this and be like, oh, this shit is good.
It's good.
This is so good. I mean, granted, it's got that romantic comedy sort of bubbly nature. It's very funny. It's very optimistic. It's very charming. But it is solid filmmaking all around.
And I feel like I might be biased towards this because I know someone who talks about these movies, specifically like quote unquote teen girl movies a lot. Mm-hmm. I have a colleague at Slash Film named BJ Colangelo, who is also the co-host of a wonderful podcast called This Ends at Prom. Where
great show.
That's a
yes. So BJ introduces her wife Harmony to teen girl movies because Harmony grew up as a teen boy. So she missed out on a bunch of these movies. So it's almost like introducing Ansel to a bunch of these movies for the first time.
Very much.
But BJ is a lot more eloquent and learned than I am in talking about these movies. So it's almost like there's this academic renaissance of looking at these teen movies because they had substance before. We just didn't really notice them. We just overlooked all of them. So if you've never seen 13 Going on 30, like Ansel previously to this,
Yep.
you may turn to our good friends at IMDb, and they'll tell you a girl makes a wish on her 13th birthday and wakes up the next day as a 30-year-old woman. I feel like that's skipping a bunch.
Yeah, that's a very nice log line, but nice elevator pitch. But we need a little more IMDb.
Now, the conversation that I had with my wife that I think is a good jumping off point is that this sounds a lot like Big on the face of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But what makes it a time travel film is that, unlike Big, and we talked about this prior, is that unlike Baskin?
I haven't seen Big in a million
Unlike
years.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Yes, Tom Hanks.
Unlike Tom Hanks, who just becomes an adult at the exact same moment and has to deal with all of that without any background, we are jumping forward in time, thus making a time travel movie.
It counts, damn it.
It counts.
It does.
We're jumping forward in time to when Jenna is 30, and then jumping back, spoilers, to when she's 13. So it is distinct in that way, but I think that there's a lot of interesting comparison to be made between this movie and Big because of those parallels.
Because it is essentially a child being inaugurated into adulthood without any of the requisite preparation.
It is also a beloved actor getting to play a child. So
Sure.
Let's
acknowledge
yes,
that.
that is wonderful.
And I mean, Jennifer Garner has this great grasp on childlike wonder. Like, so few people can pull that off. Like, obviously Tom Hanks did. But, like, how many people of Jennifer Garner's generation do you think could do that well?
She is very, very good at comedy.
Yes.
And I think sometimes underrated is more... Like, I mean, I feel like I associate her with, what was it, Alias?
Oh, yeah.
I very much associate her with being sort of like a more action-y person. And yes, let's be honest, Jennifer Garner has a hot bod. So, like, let's put her in some form-fitting assassin-y type gear and let her be an action star. But when she gets to do comedy, she really, really shines.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Jennifer Garner movies where she's, like, excellent at being funny. Because there's so many.
I mean, she was in Juno, but she's not exactly... She's definitely more of a straight man in Juno as far as her, but it does take comedic chops, I think, to be a straight man.
Yeah,
Are you trolling her IMDb?
Yeah, the first movie that came to mind for me was Catch and Release, just because Kevin Smith was in it too. But so was Timothy Olyphant.
Oh, sexual icon Timothy Olyphant.
Right.
How was your first thought not Daredevil?
Well, I mean,
Elektra.
comedies.
Oh,
I guess Elektra kind of is a comedy.
I have
not
not
on purpose,
seen
but-
either of those movies, and I've not seen them on purpose.
Well,
I will be honest, I love the Daredevil movie without any irony or...
Affleck's Daredevil
avarice.
is so much better when you watch the director's cut.
Oh, I
absolutely.
see. But I've never seen either of those, and part of it is because I heard they were bad. Another part of it was that I didn't really know I was into like superheroes back then as much as I am now.
Sure.
I was very specific. I was like, I like the X-Men and I like Batman, and that's it.
There's so many movies where Jennifer Garner just plays the
Jennifer
mom.
Garner.
Like she's
Yeah.
she's that mom in a lot of... No, the first thing that I saw Jennifer Garner in was Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude, where's your car?
Where's your car?
Dude,
Wow.
where's your car? Where's
Dude,
your
you
car,
got a
dude?
tattoo. Whoa, so did you, dude. What does mine say? Dude, you got a tattoo.
I mean-
Sweet. What does mine say?
The first thing I would have seen her in would have been Alias. And because it was definitely the Buffy generation. Alias was like Dark Angel, feat Jessica Alba.
Sure.
It was a grab at the sort of like, oh, yes, teens are watching action movies with women as the stars. Let's put more of these on television. So I definitely knew her from Alias and was very familiar with her as the sort of Buffy analogs, pretty yet strong physically and with like special powers and stuff like that. But this, I think, was 13 Going on 30 was the first time I saw her as funny. It's very charming. She does it in a way that, and I did say this before we started recording, that Tom Hanks in Big kind of freaks me out because he is literally a child the next day.
Right.
Whereas the time travel element allows Jenna to technically fully develop physically, mentally, emotionally before her 13-year-old self gets the flash forward experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember Big because it's been a while since I've seen it. But
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like Tom Hanks.
You don't like Tom Hanks?
Whoa!
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
In the whole
I know.
country.
I apologize, and this does not mean I don't like Tom.
You're entitled.
I don't mean like Tom Hanks as a person seems wonderful and warm, and he has forgiven that jackass son Chet Hayes of his so many times. Chet Hanks, I guess at this point. He used to be Chet Hayes. Another person that I hate.
Think about this drama.
Well, you don't know about Chet Hayes?
I know his other son, Colin. So.
Well, yes. I mean, Colin Hanks is a amazing actor. Chet Hanks is his younger brother, a Northwestern alum who was there at the same time as my sister. Another story that involves my sister. First of all, Chet was a total fucking dick to my sister. I know, like, would pretend like he didn't know her. And she's like, you're in the same fucking frat as my boyfriend. We've hung out so many times. I can't even. But he also is the one who does, like, fake Jamaican accents and, like, shit like that. Like, he talks like he's, like, he's, like, Ross Trent from The Lonely Island. Like, that kind of thing. And then he made this song, I guess because he's also kind of a rapper, but then he also released, like, acting classes. I know. It's crazy. I'm so shocked that Tom hasn't disowned him yet. My good friend Tom, who I know first name basis, but I don't like him. No, he did this video called White Boy Summer. Oh. And the whole video is him. There's no choreography. I feel like he literally just had women with large butts like say twerk in my face and like slap my face with your ass cheeks, because that's the whole video. It's like a bad TikTok, the whole video. And he's like affecting AAVE and like just like bad stuff. And I'm just like, this is no, dude. But Tom Hanks still hasn't disowned him. But that's not why I dislike Tom Hanks. I get that he's an everyman. I think that there are much better everymen for every single role that he's ever played.
Interesting.
Huh.
Sorry. I think he seems like a real stand-up guy. He's very liberal. He's a staunch Democrat and very it seems like a very positive, sunny person, personality-wise. Mm-hmm. I just have never seen him in anything where I'm like, that's the exact right guy for this role.
The Man with One Red Shoe.
I was going to say That Thing You Do.
Oh, That Thing You Do. He's amazing.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else who could pull off That Thing You Do the way he did.
Sounds like we need to have a Tom Hanks movie marathon.
Fine.
Oh, okay. So you
wow.
I mean, I've seen his movies, and they're not bad movies, but some of them I don't like because, like I said, Big made me very uncomfortable. I was like,
which is an interesting
When did you see Big for the first time?
When I was an adult.
Me too.
And I was like, he's a child. Why is he having sex? But that's why, like, with Jenna, it's different because she is technically an adult. Sure. It's just that the 13-year-old version is getting the flash forward. Yeah.
You know, I had a very similar moment in 13 Going on 30 where Jenna drinks alcohol for the first time. And I'm like, she's really acclimating to alcohol culture really quickly. Is this a problem?
Well, I mean, her
does my second White Claw answer your question? Actually, this is my first White Claw.
Her body has acclimated, though.
Sure, yes.
Like, I think that's an important difference between the two, and that's really interesting that you brought it up, because Jenna has an opportunity to have sex and immediately does not.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
and if you think about it, I mean, I don't know when everyone here started drinking, but I did not. I did not really drink or anything in high school or like junior high school. But I do know people who did, and so being like having your first sip of alcohol and then being like, "Woo, this is great!" Like to me, that is an experience that somebody might have at 13, where you're like, this is fun, and then be like, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore, you know? Like, that's definitely something that is available. Not necessarily that you should do it at 13.
Sure, yes.
Like I said, I did not.
I think there's an important distinction there, though, because when you're 13 and you're having your first drink of alcohol, everyone in the room knows you're 13.
That's very true.
And either your friends are there and they're gonna be shitty about it, or
and they're also 13, so everyone is equally inexperienced.
Right.
but any adult who runs into you knows that you need to be cared for now.
Yes.
Whereas Jenna, as a 30-year-old kicking back pina coladas, no one knows she needs to be cared for.
Yeah.
No, that's very
She's in a
true.
lot of trouble.
And I love the pina colada, like, of course that's what you drink. Of course that's what you drink.
Not virgin.
Not virgin.
My first intentional cocktail was a pina colada as well.
I don't like coconut. You're learning many things about what I don't like.
I had no idea what it was going to be.
Mine was a 7-Up and gin.
Okay.
Like cocktail? I don't remember
Well,
what
I
my
mean,
first cocktail was.
Mixed drink, you know.
I
But
was 25
Oh, Ansel.
on my honeymoon
Oh, Ansel.
before I had my first cocktail.
Was that on purpose? Were you just a teetotaler?
Yeah, so I grew up Baha'i.
Oh, really? Oh, that's very cool.
And so my folks are still Baha'i, and in college I sort of like started falling out of love with it. Like if I was still religious, it would absolutely be the religion I would go for. But like I'm just not. I just never had that connection.
I didn't know Baha'i didn't drink.
Yes, so it's one of the tenets of the faith is that there's no alcohol, and so like I sort of like went back and forth for a long time, and then eventually, you know, we got married, we went on our honeymoon, and I was finally like, "Yep, fuck this,
For
I'm gonna
sure.
try it."
For sure.
I'm a grown ass adult, and I'm at this resort, all you can eat, all you can drink resort. I'm doing
Beautiful,
it.
Money's
beautiful.
worth.
Yeah, right. I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to go anywhere. My room is right there. Yeah.
I
Swim up bar, pina colada. That was my first
Ooh.
cocktail.
But again, it's a very safe environment.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the person you're with knows that it's your first time drinking, or like your first time with a cocktail, knows that like you know that you're in a controlled environment where you can go up to your room at the end of the night and nothing bad is going to happen.
Tom
you know?
didn't do that for Jenna.
No, she did not.
Like she's supposed to be her friend. So,
quote unquote
friend.
Does Tom know what friends are?
I doubt it. I mean,
Tom has never had a friend.
yeah.
Not a real one.
I'm convinced that
The
yes,
6 chicks were very loosely friends. They just wanted to get Tom's popularity, right? Which is
Yes.
what Jenna wanted also.
Yeah, she was
she was the center of
lead
them.
mean girl
She was
in
the
the childhood times. I do have a draft of an essay that I keep coming back to called The Enduring Appeal of the Mean Girl, because I don't, the essay hasn't been published or anything because I don't know what the thesis statement is. Because why? Why are these girls still so appealing? Like, when we watch this movie, even though Tom is a fucking bitch in the beginning, you're still like, but yeah, I would kind of want to be her if I were 13. Like, I would be so honored if she came to my party.
Oh, that's so interesting because I have never had that response to the mean girl.
Really?
Yeah.
I wanted to be. I was on the edge of the mean girl group, and so I felt like I was always trying to like ingratiate myself to them and being so uncomfortable in the way that Jenna is in the first scene. Like I have been to those parties. You know, I was never personally subject to that kind of bullying to that extent, but was definitely at parties where I was like, I am in way over my head. Like somebody is getting fingered behind that recliner right now, and I don't understand. And that person is drinking a beer, and I don't. What is a beer? It smells horrible.
In grade school, I was definitely the uncoolest cool person. You know, like I was at the very bottom of the totem pole. Like, I got invited to the cool kid parties, but, like, when we'd play Spin the Bottle, I'd always get the barrel rolled on me. I was definitely adjacent to those people.
Yeah.
And then in high school, finally, I, like, found my own crowd. And, like, I was, you know, cool to the people that mattered.
Was your high school big?
So I was going to bring this up earlier, but I went to an all-boys Catholic high school.
Oh, snap, snap, snap. Really?
Yeah, we did not have a huge class.
Obvious.
I was the only Asian person in our class.
Did you have any other people of color?
Yes, we had...
Catholic? Did you have Latino people?
Yes.
Okay, I assume, yeah.
Yeah, so I hung out with some of them.
Yeah.
3 of them were related.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think we had a black student.
That's what, yeah.
Right off the bat. I think it wasn't until sophomore year that we had another Asian student or
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
well,
even though I grew up in Philadelphia, which is a very diverse place, not the place that I
found a way to bubble.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. And when we were talking about nicknames earlier, my nickname in high school. Oh God! If any of my friends from high school listen to this, they're gonna be like, "You fucking dork." One of my nicknames was the Asian Sensation. It was on the back of my shirt for student council. Also,
look,
Wow.
I appreciate the Asian pride, but it takes on a different color when you're the only one there.
Yeah.
You should have been in Skokie. We had so many Filipinos. When
I would visit my cousins in Streamwood, that was when I really got a bunch of Filipino interaction.
Nice.
Like, there were Filipinos in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
There were Filipinos in South Philly. Like, there were...
Well, yeah, Philadelphia, I mean, is like it does seem like such a diverse city.
Yeah,
it was just like...
In the Northeast, where I grew up, there was, like, none of that at the time. Now there's a lot more of an Asian population in the Northeast, which is nice. But growing up, I didn't really have that. I was the only one. It was... it sucked.
Bet that was great.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet that was great. I bet that was super fun.
Yeah, like the bullying that ensued pre-8th grade when I really got in with those, mean girl type people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It was almost insufferable. And even when I was one of the cool kids, like, there would always be someone who would still try to bully. And I remember we were playing football one day, and the one kid who was trying to bully me threw the football right at my face.
The shit? What the shit?
I was in pain.
What is wrong with children?
But I looked at him, and I charged, and I jumped, and then I Luthez pressed him and started punching him in the face.
Oh, shit.
Everyone was laughing, and he was crying.
Good.
And I was just like, fuck you, dude.
Sometimes bullies need to be made to cry.
Yeah, and like our friends
the
next day at school were just like, Ben made you cry. And I'm just like the most laid back, relaxed, like, I'm gonna hang out with everybody type dude. Then there's this guy being an asshole, and
I see that.
I try not to get physical a lot, like that wasn't really my MO. But sometimes bullies drive you past that point, right?
Yeah,
and I feel like Jenna would have slapped the shit out of Tom Tom, back in the day if she wasn't trying to actually
I don't
win
know,
her
man. I mean,
because
physical violence is so, like, girls go much more for the emotional violence.
Oh, yeah, they'll destroy you mentally.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, emotionally. They'll I mean, like, again, look at Mean Girls, another movie from this very same time period, where they're like, oh, we're going to give this mean girl a foot cream for her face. That there is this idea that the mean girl is somebody to be defeated.
Right.
And I just... defeated or befriended.
Right.
And like befriended to the point where you are capitulating to them, right? Because if Jenna joins Tom Tom's army like she wants to when she's 13, that she becomes a totally different person, but she's also completely subject to whatever lead mean girl wants. It's very complicated.
Sure. Yeah.
I know teenage boys have problems too, but it's very complicated being a teenage girl.
Yeah.
How would you say that, like, depictions like Clueless factor into that?
What's interesting to me specifically about Clueless is that when I watched it for the first time, I understood that it was a satire, even though I was quite young. But I also really appreciate something like Clueless where, yes, Cher has a lot of money and she has a lot of privilege, but her true instinct is about bringing people together and doing nice things for other people. So specifically Clueless, I'm like, I think that's actually a really good example.
Yes.
That there is, Amber gives a little toxic femininity, but...
Which Amber always gets put in her place by
but she
Cher
does.
or Dion.
Exactly, she does. And it's very clear that what she is doing is silly.
Yes.
I think 13 going on 30 is the same, where it is the mean girls are the ones who are being ridiculed. I mean, you don't hire somebody like Judy Greer to portray a character. I mean, I'm sure she could do it because she has the nuance, but you don't necessarily hire someone with her comedic chops to play a character that is completely grounded. You know, you don't rely on her to play somebody who is, I mean, I wouldn't say that she's not kind, but you don't hire her to play somebody who isn't going to have some sort of real moral arc.
Right.
Not to discount Judy Greer's talent. However, I don't think what she gets cast as.
Really.
Yeah. I think she could do it if anybody ever wanted to give her that. But she's great at playing the Cheryl Carrolls of the world, where the context is sort of stupidity and vapidity with a little bit of a mean / rich girl edge to it.
And you know, when I say that I want Jenna to slap the shit out of Tom Tom, I think I more so mean like, oh, Jenna accidentally bumps into Tom Tom and her face goes into the cake. Like,
yes.
I would much rather see Tom Tom do something that gets herself fucked up.
Ding, ding, ding.
I waited the whole movie for that to happen.
That presentation wasn't her fucking up.
I mean,
not enough.
Yeah.
We needed her to fall into a cake. We needed like a pile of poo. We needed a Biff Tannen.
Yes, some sort of public embarrassment to fully give her redemption.
Which I mean, granted, we did get that in her like professional arc. But for the level of comedy that this was, we could absolutely have gotten Jenna falls into some cake or gets very sick on a amusement park ride or whatever. Whatever
when we're talking about drinking, gets too drunk at that Thriller dance party and barfs everywhere. Like that would be a nice just something a little bit more embarrassing.
Right. So we've talked a lot about Jenna and Tom Tom, but
are we going to talk about the Ruffles?
Exactly. We got to talk about Matty.
Ruffles have ridges.
Matty, who was me. We talked about in high school how like you were adjacent to the cool girls.
Yeah.
I never thought the cool girls were cool.
I was probably like the Brie Larson, Brie Larson does make an appearance as one of the 6.
That's right.
She does. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I was probably that one, like the one on the side, the Karen Smith of the group, for example. But I feel like I'm sitting with two Matts, Matties.
I definitely commiserated with Matt.
Of course.
Like, I would try to do that like romantic gesture of, hey, I made you a dollhouse that you always wanted. I never made a dollhouse, but I did other things. Oh my god. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I do know why I'm talking about this.
Because I really need to know what the other things you did, though, were.
So you've seen Say Anything, right?
Yes, of course. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't.
The worst part about it is the girl that I did it for didn't see the movie, so she didn't get the reference.
She had no idea what was going on. Oh no! Was it
so? She was just confused.
Did you play "In Your Eyes" or a different song?
Actually, so a song that she and I had shared at the time was "Tiny Dancer."
Okay, similar vibe, but yes.
So I actually went with "Your Song" by Elton John since it was adjacent. And
yes,
Moulin Rouge was popular at the time also, and I thought she'd get it. She didn't.
That's very upsetting.
It was
and embarrassing for her, honestly.
Really?
Like, she needs to get on her pop culture. Come on.
It's true. I mean,
she could not have kept up with you.
No, that's true.
It's hard. It's really hard. Sometimes you say things and I'm like, that sounds cool.
I'm going to have to Google that later.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of things that I was probably too young to be watching.
Good for you.
Like, I mean, my first girlfriend and I totally on the same wavelength with this stuff because we were. I like to joke that we were hipsters before hipsters were a thing because we would ride our bikes everywhere.
Whoa, that is the most. I was gonna say that is the most hipster possible thing you could say.
Right, because we would ride our bikes everywhere. We talk about movies and TV shows and music that no one was talking about, and like
I'm gonna punch you.
We ordered latte in a very specific manner.
But it's just like in our neighborhood, no one else was talking about Rocky Horror.
Microbrews.
Like we went to go see Riding in Cars with Boys on a date.
Fascinating. And people weren't doing that.
No, like, because they were busy, I don't know, like, this is a few years after, but they were busy idolizing Jackass. It's great to have this, like, confident nerddom in yourself when you're that young, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think Matty had that, too, where he didn't really give a shit what Tom and her friends thought. He was just going to do his own thing.
Matty was aware that they were bullshit.
Exactly. Like, he even says, I haven't trusted Tom since that time in the 3rd grade when she stole my candy or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's...
Probably Razzles.
Probably Razzles. Dude loves Razzles. No matter how much he tries to resist them. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I got to that point in grade school to high school where I was just like, I'm gonna be what I am, you know? Because, like, being the only Asian kid around, I had no choice but to be what I was and embrace it, you know? And to have this confident dork mentality, which is present in Matty and in Mei Lin in Turning Red, was something that I related to. But also, that stuff comes with their own set of problems. Being
a female identifying person, of course, immediately I identify with Jenna and the sort of like mean girl. Well, like I said, I'm Brie Larson in this situation. Who knows where she is right now? In the future.
Oh. Her character.
Yeah.
Brie Larson herself is working out. Yeah,
Brie Larson herself is probably currently asleep so that she can wake up at 4 a.m. and start working out. But it's just very interesting because I never really consider, like, I don't consider the sort of more emotional arc of Matty in that sort of way. And it's very cool to hear that the thing that you guys take away from him is that he was unabashed in his sort of nerdery, and that he never deviated from that. Whereas I feel like there are other movies of a similar type, like rom-com style teen movies where there is a very sort of toxic nice guy. Right. That Matty could easily fall into the toxic nice guy stereotype, but he doesn't at all.
He could easily be Ducky. And he's not.
Oh my god, yes, he could easily be Ducky.
Yeah, you know, like, before I really comprehended what Ducky was, I was like, oh, I'm totally Ducky. And then eventually when I got older, I was like, no, you don't want to be Ducky.
Well,
it's like Xander from Buffy.
Oh god, I was just talking about this yesterday. Oh my god, I was just talking about Xander from Buffy yesterday. But it is that same thing of like, there is a nice guy and it's very refreshing in this movie. And I think what makes it stand out among other movies of its genre, not time travel genre, but sort of teen / rom-com genre, that he is not as quintessentially toxic as some of those other types of characters.
Yeah, it's funny how the title of nice guy has come to mean like a derogatory thing. Like,
capital N, capital G, nice
guy. Exactly. People ruined it, you know, because I remember...
They ruined it!
I remember when capital N, capital G, nice guy was this thing that Wong Fu Productions was always talking about on their YouTube channel, you know, about this nice guy who was always kind of getting shit on and was trying to, you know, be friends with everybody and had this crush on this girl and it would always be unrequited and things like that. But then nice guy evolved into being this, like...
incel.
Yes. 100%.
Yes. I
they
think
weaponize the nice guy image.
Yes, there is a trajectory from nice guy to incel that we've gone. There are many steps in between nice guy and incel that psychologically the internet seems to have gone through,
I think including men's rights activists. That's it. That's in there on the line. You know?
Jesus Christ.
Oh god.
But that, along with the recent re-examination of the friend zone concept.
Yes, yes.
And how problematic that is when you really like look back on it. And nice guy and friend zone are related concepts at the very least.
They
I think
are,
is part of why it's icky.
And Ruffles could very easily fall into that category in this movie, but he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember.
I think it's because Ruffles learns. Like, the thing that we see immediately when we meet older Matty is that when this happened to him, like, he learned from Jenna when she fucked him over in 4th grade or whatever it was. And he learned from Jenna he learned from Tom Tom when she fucked him over in 4th grade. And he learned from Jenna at her 13th birthday. He was like, well, okay, that's who you are. Peace.
Yeah, I can recognize these toxic people in my life, and I can just say, hey, nah.
Yeah.
Which is so much healthier.
Yeah. It's a very admirable quality.
Ruffles did not hold a torch for Jenna.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Even though
he was done with her.
Even though when she came back into his life, it kind of reignited that flame.
But she had to convince him.
She did. It did take a lot. Like
she wrecked that home.
You know?
Yes. He was very much like, nah, I'm out of this.
I'm actively getting married this weekend.
I am actively getting married. I hate it when I passively get married, but I am actively getting married this weekend.
Well, there's a difference between like, well, this is my fiance and we'll get married eventually, and this is my fiance.
Yes, no, we are.
This is imminent.
This is like
this
tomorrow.
Is a month from now.
Yeah.
The flowers are coming in.
So Matty and Jenna have this ongoing joke of arrivederci, au revoir.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have that with a friend of the opposite gender when you were younger?
Like a
See you later, alligator sort of deal.
Sure, yeah.
Do I dare speak of my first crush?
Ooh.
Well, no, not my first crush. My first crush was the person with the spin the bottle and then you kiss. And then, actually, I think it might have been Truth or Dare, and somebody said, I dare you to kiss Jesse. And I got made fun of because I closed my eyes when we kissed. And I was like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? I don't understand. That was also the first night I saw porn. Not video porn, but magazine porn. We had my friends
live action porn.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like,
my friends,
what?
my friends' dad's Playboys, and the first night I saw Rocky Horror, eventful evening.
Wow, you did
first.
You did a lot.
I did a lot that night.
Yeah.
I did a lot that night. Kissed my crush, Rocky Horror, looked at some porn,
spin the bottle.
Yeah, it was great. That was much closer to the top than I thought. I'm not used to sippy cups.
I want to see my wine.
I usually get to see my wine and say it has legs, but I don't think that is gonna happen in this glass.
It's got ankles.
I did have my very first like real crush in high school. This is so embarrassing. Would like flirt with me using like references to fantasy books, specifically Dragonlance and Wheel of Time.
Fuck yeah.
Where we were both reading Wheel of Time at the same time, and I absolutely adored him. And God, he was on the first episode of the new Padma Lakshmi Taste the Nation, because now he is a rabbi. At one of the like biggest synagogues in New York City.
Wow.
Yes, I haven't watched this episode yet because I'm going to suffer from so much embarrassment. And I know that Dave, my husband, will see this man and never stop making fun of me. And I'm just like, I might have to watch this by myself because I don't think I can live down how much I was in love with him when I was 13 years old. But he would be like, I'd be like, we're just talking about Wheel of Time and it's so deep and everything. And I love Elaine Trickhand. And he'd be like, well, then just call me Randall Thor. And so there was that kind of
So did you call
shorthand.
each other by your Wheel of Time name?
For a little bit, until I got an actual boyfriend who wasn't too Jewish to date me. So
It's a very real thing that'll happen.
it is a very real thing that will happen. But no, I've always pretty much been Nicole. The closest real nickname that stuck is Minnie, which is just my burlesque name. So It's not even a nickname. It's just...
That's a name you gave yourself that people call you respectfully.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mentioned my first girlfriend, who with me was very hipstery.
Mm-hmm. Hipsters before hipsters were a thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You were hipsters before it was cool.
Right. So she had a friend, and the friend and I stayed friends after the breakup. And, like, I felt weird about, like, acting on anything because, like, they were friends. And then there was one point where she was just like, I love you like a brother. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I love you like a brother is a real...
Yeah.
It's a real
one.
sign.
Exactly. So, like, we would talk on the phone all the time because by this point, by high school, she had moved to the suburbs. And I was still in the city,
too, yeah.
you know? But I always made fun of her about living in the country. Horses and farms and barns and stuff, even though, you know, this was only half an hour outside of Philadelphia, so...
You must have a barn. Do you have a grain silo? Because I feel like half hour outside the city is grain silo territory.
This is literally the type of stuff I would say to her all the time. And we used to have a greeting like Matty and Jenna, where, you know, I'd say TC and she'd say whatsy.
Oh, that's cute.
It was very cute. It wasn't cute when I found out that she liked me back.
Oh.
12 years later when you were...
Oh, it was much sooner than that because it all came to a head when I found out that she was catfishing me. Because I didn't want... We had already established that I didn't want to, like, make a move because she was friends with my ex. And,
yes, the audience can't see my face, but it just went through so many emotions. Okay.
Yeah, so before catfishing was really a thing, she was going to introduce me to her friend via instant messenger because she thought that that her friend and I would get along and we'd hit it off. And instead of talking to her friend, I was actually talking to her.
I knew that's where it was going, and I'm so upset. That's crazy. Why would you? I don't understand why you would do that. If she intuited that you liked her, if she knew that you liked her, why not just be herself?
I mean, after the whole brother-sister conversation, it was kind of hard to go back, you know?
It's not hard to go back, girl.
I know that now. Like, I mean, because she said that, I also said something similar, and I'm like, okay, fine, you know? But
okay. I get that. Of like, if you say something bad, like she was testing the waters. But this is the thing.
Teenage boys aren't very perceptive.
No. And if you're a girl who likes men at all, when you're a teenager, the communication is usually like somebody testing the waters, and the other person saying something that like is oh no, I love you like a brother, and is supposed to be the opening for you to be like, that's not how I feel, but that's what we as women have been trained to do, is not be active participants in our own love life.
It was wild. And like I ended up going to one of her proms with her.
Aw.
But I had 2 dates to that prom because I took her
and Jeez. Literally was playing in my Uber on the way over here. So
amazing.
Yeah.
And you were being catfished, man.
I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I don't know why we never actually hooked up, but I mean, that story probably tells you exactly why.
Yeah, that feels like a reason.
What's fascinating to me about 13 going on 30 is that all of these people are still in each other's lives.
Yeah.
Where it is the sort of thing where it's like... Though.
Jenna and Tom are the only two that are still in each other's lives.
Well, I mean, I guess technically Matt makes an appeal. Like, he's still close enough.
Yeah, he's adjacent enough, like, industry-wise, I think.
Maybe industry, but they're like... Well,
they're not still friends.
He doesn't do anything in their industry until she calls him in.
But he's still there. He's still in New York.
He's a borough over. He's not far.
That's fair.
He's in New York. He's in the same environment.
Yeah.
That there are a lot of people where if you tried to go and reconnect with those people, that it would be very, very difficult to get in touch with them or be. And I wonder if that's more because they were coming of age in the late 80s and not post-internet.
Is that true for you, though? I just feel like growing up in Skokie, so many people, like, gravitationally would just fall back into the circle of Chicago.
As we know, the Midwest, I mean, Chicago is the biggest small town there ever was.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a lot of people here.
It's a gravity well. Yeah.
But it is the question of if you were suddenly thrust into the future, would you have those same people in your life? Would you try to go back to those same people? Is there a moment that should you be thrust into the future through magical wishing powder and dream house means, would you try to find those people?
If that had happened to me, if 13-year-old me had been thrown forward to 30-year-old me and had to find my best friends, it would have been a very difficult road trip.
You know, a lot of my really close friends from the time are still really close. But I don't live in Philadelphia anymore. So, like, it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. You know, I try to stay in touch with them. Like, you know, I'll greet them on holidays, whenever I'm home.
I was going to say, do you visit them when you go home?
I'll be like, hey, I'm home if you want to hang out. You know, and I mean, the pandemic's made it harder because you know.
Are most of them still in the Jersey, Philly, New York area?
Yes. Yeah. The majority of them are.
Again, because that area has its own gravity.
Yeah.
Similar to the Chicago, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Midwest Metroplex.
Yeah,
yeah, no, I mean,
St. Louis, I guess, would be the other one?
Sort of, yeah. I definitely, I mean, like I said, if it was 13-year-old me, there's people that I'm not friends with anymore because of reasons. Like, because of, like, bitchy, like, teenage reasons. But I think that if I was suddenly thrust into but again, it is assuming that, like Jenna, your timetable begins, like your future begins at the moment that you time travel forward. Mm-hmm. So you time travel forward starting from this moment. If this moment happens and you continue exactly on that trajectory, then what happens to you? Mm-hmm. So I would say that, yeah, if 13-year-old me is thrust forward to the trajectory of 30-year-old me, I think that I do have, like, yeah, enough people that are still friends of mine, for real, that I'd be like, hey, yeah, I can find you. And, you know, also we have Facebook.
We have Facebook true.
Now we have Facebook.
We have the whole Facebook, IG, like any LinkedIn. This is aught 4. We didn't have any of that. We had the internet, but we didn't have any of that shit yet.
Yeah, we were, I'm trying to remember what websites we would have been on at the time.
LiveJournal?
No. Well, yeah, LiveJournal.
Yeah, LiveJournal, for sure.
MySpace was just starting.
MySpace was just starting.
I had a MySpace. I never really, but I was full LiveJournal, obvi. The nerd space.
I had a lot. I was also on LiveJournal.
What would be funny is if we were all friends on LiveJournal and didn't know it. God. I was friends with somebody in the burlesque scene on LiveJournal.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Isn't that wild?
That's great.
That's so crazy.
And she was like, wait a minute. Because I used my youth screen name for all of our current, like, Zoom, Cast, whatever our, like, new instant messenger apps are, which is Dragonfire 24601. And she was like, wait a minute. I knew somebody on LiveJournal with that name. I was like,
my God.
It was me.
That's insane.
Isn't that?
I love that.
But those would have been our websites at the time.
Yeah, no, 13-year-old me trying to touch base with somebody at 30-year-old me would be fucked. Absolutely fucked.
It really is touching on that time travel element of what happens if your consciousness is just thrust forward. Because there are, like we've said, there are some time travel movies where it is not your consciousness, it's just you as you are now, thrust forward or backward in time. But this is very much your consciousness as it is now, forward.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, that element brings an interesting layer to the movie because the note that I wrote down was something that a lot of people forget when they grow up is remembering what it's like to be a kid. The fun, laughter, and silliness. And I think Jenna really tries to bring that into her rebranding of Poise. You know, and I think that this movie is a great reminder that a lot of people do forget about these things. Because, like, as a film critic, I try to look at a movie by the way I'm experiencing it and how the demographic is supposed to experience it. When a lot of critics are just like, no, this movie's crap. Like, I didn't relate to this movie at all because I'm not a 13-year-old Canadian American or Chinese Canadian who loves boy bands. Yes, I'm calling this out for a specific critic that everyone has been piling on for the past week about Turning Red, but I'm not going to bring that up now because he doesn't deserve the airtime.
I'll be interested to know who this is because I love to talk shit. But I also very much appreciate that you as a critic are... Who is the audience? Like, who am I? What is my reaction? But who is the audience?
Right.
It's like there are a lot of theater critics who will be like, well, so I hate Shakespeare, so let me review this production of Romeo and Juliet. And you're like, oh, okay.
Like,
you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it.
This wasn't for you.
Yeah, you're going to hate it.
Not everything ever made is for you, straight white guy.
Well, but that also isn't a reason that you shouldn't enjoy it. Like, that you shouldn't find some... There are...
You should enjoy it more, I would argue.
Yes, the empathy that it creates by showing you a specific experience should make you enjoy it or relate to it or see something in it that is valuable for the people it's meant to be valuable for. You know, like, it meant a lot to me personally to see Ned Leeds in Spider-Man No Way Home speak to his grandmother in Tagalog with no subtitles.
They did no... I haven't seen this movie yet, but they did no subtitles. That's subtitles. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
So you get name redacted since you haven't seen the movie. You get this character talking to Ned's grandma and she's responding in Tagalog.
That's amazing.
And, like, that never happens in mainstream movies because the mainstream of Hollywood tends to forget that Filipinos are a thing until someone reminds them of it.
Well, if you would like to go back in time and attend high school with me, you would be very popular, first of all, but also, like, everyone speaks Tagalog at Niles North. I mean, I don't personally, but I know enough that, like, my friends would be on the phone and be like, Tagalog, 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 Skokie Boulevard, Tagalog, 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 Grosse Pointe Road, like, Old Orchard Mall. So beautiful. And I love that it's just very interesting to me as somebody who was in a school with a lot of people from various Asian countries of all stripes that like it's not as common for a lot of people.
Sometimes I think back to what I would be like if I were put into that environment. Like if I went to high school in Streamwood or in San Diego. Or in
Skokie with me, we would have been friends.
Exactly.
I guarantee you we would have been friends.
Because we both would have done theater.
We would have been friends. I'm rolling my eyes at my past self.
But, like, I just think of what I would do in those situations, and I feel like I would be overwhelmed by getting what I wanted. You know, like, just to be around people of, not even of, like mind, but just, like, of the same background, I guess. So, like, they would get what I was going through, you know? Like, that's why this fucking movie review made me so mad. Because I've had critics throughout my career be like, I don't relate to this thing because I don't see myself in it. And I'm like, bro, welcome to my life for the last 20 years. Like, I don't look like Ferris Bueller, but I love and relate the things that he does. You know, it's not about what they are literally, it's what they can represent. You know?
Which I don't understand why people can't wrap their minds around that.
Because some people just fail at empathy, you know, and that's kind of what Jenna was trying to bring to light in her redesign. Lucy clearly was far off base. Cause of death, chicness.
So much drama. And yes, it is. It is there is the sort of love and light that happens when you are a tween that hasn't been jaded yet, that Jenna brings to the magazine. And I think that is why it's so successful, because it's like, this is actually what teens are looking for. This is what they want. Whereas Lucy / Tom Tom is still, spoilers, Lucy / Tom Tom is still very, very wrapped up in the naive and myopic understanding of femininity and what it is to be pretty.
And that's the same thing that Josh Baskin brings in Big. Not to keep bringing it back to Big, but the like.
But you want to bring it back to Big, and my enemy Tom Hanks.
Yeah. But yeah, because like that part of the film is so similar from Big to 13 Going 30s, that like childlike wonder being useful to an adult. And I just think that that's really interesting that, you know, those movies are easily 20 years apart, but we still needed that in our pop culture.
We constantly need that reminder
that like, hey, maybe don't be so jaded by all the shit that happens to you that you forget to enjoy where you are.
So when I look at 13 Going on 30 and think about things that don't hold up, there was one thing that is on the verge of not holding up. And that's when Andy Serkis's character reveals that he's gay to Jenna, who, as a 13-year-old in the late 80s, probably didn't really know that many gay people. So she's surprised when Andy Serkis is like, yeah. I mean, he doesn't explicitly say, yeah, I'm gay, but he, like, chuckles at the notion of her question, like, are you gay? Like, right, and that's, like, the only thing that made...
Very 2004.
Yes.
Very, very gay panic. Very, I don't know, it just seems like in 2004, we had gay was okay in most major metropolitan areas, in a lot of suburban areas. People knew gay people, but there was still a touch of gay panic in her response. I mean, I guess he was technically explicitly gay, but you didn't you didn't see him interacting in any sort of gay way.
He wasn't gay coded in any way.
No. Well, I think that was probably the mocap.
It's hard to do that in CG.
It's hard to code gay.
Not until
CG.
Benedict Cumberbatch were you able to code
as
gay.
Smaug?
Right.
Oh, yes. Very, very gay coded. Smaug. Smaug the Fabulous.
Right. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why he's got that waistcoat made of diamonds.
I mean, he's covered in gold.
He's into cloaca stuff, I hear.
Ooh. Cloaca.
That's right.
That's the ring.
Dragon physiology here.
So...
Are we still reviewing a movie?
We are.
I'm just... This is awesome.
I feel like we talked a lot about Jenna in the past, and I feel like we need to be like...
We need to give Matty his due.
Well, yes, we need to give Matty his due, but we need to give the contemporary part of the movie their due.
Yeah. I mean, did we touch on that a bit with Matt? I mean, mostly with
Matty.
But...
Yeah.
I would also like...
As an adult female person,
yes,
a femme-presenting human.
I am femme-presenting and identifying. I once was doing a weird, like, cosplay Harry Potter fan film on TikTok.
There you go.
And everybody else I was Peter Pettigrew. And everybody else in the Marauders was, like, fully bound. And I was like, I don't know, I feel bad. Should I be fully bound? And then I looked at my tits in the mirror and I was like, how dare you tell me that Peter Pettigrew shouldn't have these
fabulous titties.
That was another thought.
The audience should know that she was feeling herself up the whole time.
In my Niles North 2003 high school sweatshirt.
You know, I know this is off topic, but like I noticed that when Jenna fast forwards to her 30-year-old self, the first thing she does is grab her boobs. And she's just like,
what are these?
Yeah.
I mean,
look, boobs are fun if you disagree, you're lying to yourself. I don't care what your sexuality is.
Everybody loves boobs.
Everybody loves boobs. Nobody doesn't like boobs.
Everybody loves boobies.
What were you going to say as an adult female?
And that's a great segue, is like...
Boobs.
Did that feel accurate to you as a person who has been a 13-year-old girl and a 30-year-old girl? Like... Did this sell for you as an accurate representation of what it would feel like to be suddenly thrown from one to the other?
Yes, given the fact that I think our personalities are different, I think it does track insofar as this is the, waking up, feeling your boobs. Wait, I'm old now? What do I have
I
in my
skipped
body?
puberty.
Right?
All the skills.
Exactly. Like, let's see what's going on here. But also in
Going to work in your nightgown.
it looks cute, right? It's a slip dress.
Everybody
right?
bought it.
It's called fashion.
Apparently.
I don't know that I buy it insofar as the fact that her character has changed so much. I don't think that people's character changes that much.
Yeah?
I think that if you are the nerdy girl in junior high and you have that horrible experience, well, quote unquote horrible, it's like, is that the worst that people in junior high have experienced? No.
Well, but here's the thing, is like the experience I feel is worse for Matty than it is for Jenna.
Absolutely. I mean, it's horrible for Matty.
Like,
and
Jenna
Jenna's
makes a
embarrassed.
choice.
Yeah, Jenna is probably embarrassed, but Matty is like devastated?
I mean, he cuts her out of his life.
Yeah.
He is in love with her when they are 13.
Yeah.
And for her to behave in that way is...
She turns her back on Matty and everything that Matty represents, that nerdy side of herself.
I honestly don't think that happens. I just think that there is a core morality and value system that you have by the time that you're 13. And if you are the type of person who's not going to try to do... That's not to say you can't make mistakes. That's not to say that you can't do shitty things to people. But it wouldn't change you that fundamentally. I mean, mean girls doing shit to you when you're 13 seems to be par for the course. I had friends take me out to lunch at McDonald's when I was like 12 years old and be like... You're hanging out with the popular girls. I don't know if we want to hang out with you if you're also hanging out with the popular girls. And yes, at the time, when I was 13, that was very upsetting. Of course I came home crying. But it wasn't necessarily something that defined my personality going forward.
Well, so Matty said something interesting to Jenna when she asked basically what happened and, if she was the person that he knew back then and all that stuff. And he said, you got everything you ever wanted. Might as well enjoy it. So it's like, I mean, if she had to change...
He's not even a little wrong.
No, not at all.
Like, if she had to change enough to hang out with the 6 chicks and essentially become their queen and put up this facade, like, wouldn't she try to continue that facade into adulthood in order to maintain that stuff, which would include...
Especially if it keeps working.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like, she's... I mean, it's kind of unclear where they are in the org chart, but she's at least equal with Tom Tom, if not above Tom Tom.
She's above. She's above Tom Tom. Like that. I mean, that's my reading of their authority structure. She's above her.
Yeah, it certainly felt like she was senior to Tom Tom in their work. Enough that Tom Tom resented her for it.
We're talking so serious about this movie, and I feel like it's...
Movies are serious business.
Movies are serious business, and I feel like, especially like we said earlier, the Free Britney, the revisiting of Amanda Bynes scenario, like all of these things are being revisited, but at the end of the day, it really is just a fun movie.
Absolutely.
And it's very uplifting that somebody who is a total fucking, like, popular bitch, that she can go back to the sweet person that she was.
Well, and I guess that's maybe the best thing to end on, is how amazing was it to see them in the better timeline? Now that we know what Jenna and Matty can be when the bad thing happens.
The big question that I had at the end of it was like, wait, but is Jenna still in publishing and is Matty still a photographer? Do they still have their careers?
It looks
or
like
do they
no.
just live in the dream house?
That's a very good question that I never thought of.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely thought about
really?
it. Yeah.
Really? Oh, I didn't even think about it. I was like, they're together. It's
36 the first time I watched this movie. The first thing I thought was, wait, do they still work in the same place?
Look, I watched this movie last fucking week and I still didn't even think anything about it. I was like, they're together.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love movies.
What are
They're
their
so
jobs?
happy.
Eat some razzles.
but I don't know that are their lives better because they stayed together from age 13 on?
I think it's clear that they're happier.
Yes.
I mean,
in this
But
specific,
are their careers better?
in this specific instance.
That's true. On move-in day when you've just bought a new house is a very, like,
Well,
either
I mean,
the worst possible day of your year or the best possible day of your year.
But for these specific characters, yes, they're happy. Does that mean that the lesson is everybody should follow their loins instead of their career aspirations? Probably not.
No.
But it's
And
just that these two are better.
I think there's an important distinction there, though, because it's not as though, like, they got the same experiences and opportunities. Like, Jenna got to be the editor at Poise because she was a bitch to Matty and befriended the popular kids.
And
she probably made a series of choices similar to that going on.
And she didn't, her, like, youth career goal was not to be the editor at Poise.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that was, she was like, yes, of course I would love to be in fashion, but she was not like the editor at Poise 100%, no questions asked.
Yeah, I like to hope that she's got a job that is closer to designing or closer, like she's got something that is in fashion that is closer to her
Passion?
desire for
Her
happiness.
passion for fashion.
Yeah, as opposed to like deriving from fashion.
Yeah.
Well,
Or more importantly, deriving from her relationship with Jenna or with Tom Tom.
right.
Ugh.
Well, in the non-canonical sequel to 13 Going on 30, The Adam Project.
Which, have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't, and I haven't listened to that
It
episode
did
of the
just
show
come out, so
yet because I haven't seen it yet.
Well,
Should I?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay.
Matty goes into science and creates time travel. So I think he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, and
I didn't know
and
he
we
was
still
in this.
don't know what Jenna does.
No, we
She
don't.
goes to work.
She goes to work. She dates a dude with a mouth mullet.
Yep.
Did you just say mouth mullet?
Yep.
Yes.
What is that?
That is the
Small
Ryan
mustache,
Reynolds.
unkempt goatee?
Just a goatee. It's actually a very tidy goatee. It's actually an Andy Serkisian goatee.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to bring that full circle.
I do like that Ryan Reynolds. I think he's going places.
He's got some potential there.
The
But
Two Guys, a
when
Girl,
I
and a Pizza
see-
Place star, Ryan Reynolds.
Wow, yeah, he did great on that. I
He
feel like
did.
he's really on the up and up.
Absolutely.
The trailers for the Adam Project have made me roll my eyes.
Interesting.
And so this is my big secret. When Time to Party comes on my news feed or my RSS feed for podcasts and I haven't seen the movie, I just mark it as played because I'm like, I'm not going to watch this or whatever. Or, I mean, obviously, if it's a movie I want to watch, I keep it in there. Adam Project immediately went into the, like,
Really?
nah.
I'm curious about that because their marketing has been such a hit for me. What is
Really?
it that hasn't sold you? Is it that there's a kid in it? Because that normally would turn me off.
No, it's
immediately.
not necessarily that there's a kid in it. There can be kids in, like, people have found good kids. It's just like the whole thing. I'm also not, outside of Deadpool, I'm not necessarily like a Ryan Reynolds stan.
That's fair. But you like Star Wars, right?
Yes, of course I like Star Wars.
This is an audition movie for Star Wars.
For him?
This
What
is
is the director?
absolutely
Yeah.
him and Sean Levy wanting to make a Star Wars
Okay.
movie.
And now they're even closer because they're doing a Marvel movie together.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Wait, what?
they're doing Deadpool 3.
Yeah, which is going to be very good.
Cannot
I'm
wait.
gonna
But they
whisper
also
about
they
this.
did Free Guy.
Okay.
Which is very
I totally stole your line there. That should have been you.
good.
Also,
but-
haven't seen Free Guy.
It's very fun.
No Free Guy, no.
Work made me
it's
watch
fine.
it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Do you need to watch it? No. Is it perfectly fine? Yes. It is a fun movie. Perfect.
1,000. Okay.
Yeah. Enjoy it when you get around to it.
Okay.
So the
Adam Project, same thing. When you get around to it, super fun.
yes, and it's on Netflix, so it's not like you have to go to a theater or anything.
I do love a hot Netflix selection.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that we didn't talk about was the time travel mechanism of 13 Going on 30.
Oh, it's wishes.
Yes. It's
It's
magic.
literally
Hold on.
just wishes.
It is sparkles in a Kool-Aid packet. It is glitter.
But magic is just science we don't understand yet.
It's glitter.
Oh, thank you, Thor. Glitter. AKA
The material of your people.
the material of my people, and also the fodder for the rival magazine Sparkle.
Sparkle. Oh my god, it is!
Full circle. Sparkle makes wish powder.
That probably. I bet you can buy it in the back of the magazine.
But it's basically like wish powder and a Barbie dream house.
Yeah.
That is the
Slash
summary.
maybe a concussion. She does bang her head against that shelf a bunch.
That's true.
That is what we're meant to believe, but I am more interested in the magical interpretation.
Yeah, we don't need the
sure.
logical explanation. Like,
No,
I don't think there's any argument that she's gotten concussed enough to have this vision. Let's be very clear.
We can believe that if we want to, but I like to believe her wish. Her wish is just powerful enough.
That it activates the
she manifested
Kool-Aid
that
packet,
that future
glitter.
for herself.
So, ladies and gentlethems, wish. Just wish.
Yeah,
wishing.
And
Yes.
and you too can travel through time.
absolutely.
Power of love.
Bow, bow. Oh, not yet. We have
No,
something first.
no.
That's the love of
Also-
power, which is legally distinct.
Right, absolutely. Well, the final bit that we didn't cover is 13 going on 30 worth your time?
I mean, is 1000% a viable option?
Yeah, I think so.
It is a great movie. It is one of these sort of like teen movies that has teen / rom-com movies that has stood the test of time.
Absolutely.
There's cute dresses. They're selling that stripy dress online right now.
I just
Wait.
saw that.
Yeah, they're selling it.
Fun fact. The actress who played young Jenna, when she turned 30,
Oh, fuck.
borrowed that dress from Jennifer Garner and wore it for her 30th
Okay, show off.
birthday.
Calm down.
I mean, if you're gonna be that person, do that thing. Yes.
Yeah, I guess if you are that person, do that thing. But
If
also,
you are that
fuck
human
you.
being.
Fuck you.
I mean, just because
Also, who's your agent? Can you send me a
Yeah,
link?
call me.
A number?
just because the Cubs messed it up by not winning the World Series when they were supposed to doesn't mean
Jesus.
other movie icons can't do the thing that they were meant to do.
Whoops.
I'm not a sports guy. Why do I care? I just want the Back to the Future thing to come true.
Right?
I'm not
Back
a
to the Future was
baseball
supposed to
person.
be predictive. Come on, we all knew this.
Back to the Future is a documentary, and events happen in real time.
It's true.
The Tannen and McFly families are still heavily involved in the community of Hill Valley.
That was a reference to my favorite Aqua Teen Hunger Force quote. Highlander was a documentary, and events happened in real time.
Oh, Highlander.
Speaking of time travel.
With the French Highlander and the Scottish Spaniard.
So Ansel, as the one of us who hadn't seen this movie, does it hold up in today's modern era?
That's a very
That's
good
very
question.
interesting.
That's a very good question. I think with the exception of the noted weirdness of Andy Serkis's reveal as a gay character at the end of the film being strangely handled. Other than that, yeah, it totally holds up. Especially as a person in your 30s watching it as a... So I think that we ran into this again with that other movie that everybody watches when they're a teenager, Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. Yeah.
Ah,
The same
yes,
thing
the one that
happens
just
where,
started,
like,
yes.
when you watch Donnie Darko as a 14-year-old, you identify with the 14-year-olds, and when you watch as an adult, you identify with the adults. I think the same thing happened here, where it was like, okay, the 14-year-olds were like a fun throwback character, and I was like, yeah, that was cool. I was 14, vaguely around that time. And then so the 30-year-olds, were definitely, along with being the majority of the film, were also, the characters that I was able to access. So adult Matty especially, read for me. Which is good, because Ruffles is great.
Yes.
Ruffles do have ridges. And
Right.
by ridges, I mean nuance to his acting.
Yeah, they're like an onion.
Yeah, like an onion.
But yeah, so yeah, absolutely.
Like
I think
an ogre?
this was very much worth my time, and it did hold up
Awesome.
for the most part.
Yes.
I am so happy that you have been inducted into the 13 Going on 30 Club. This is it's
This
just
is the story of this podcast.
it's just such a good movie.
It really is. It really is a fun. And again, I think because I watched Big so much as a kid, like I cannot extricate the two, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Where like this is something that I'm able to access with that childlike wonder because I watched Big as a kid. So this has like flavors of that same concept while being actually a time travel film because it does do that thing where we bump forward into her 30-year-old time as well as her 30-year-old self.
I appreciate the fact that you called this a film. That is a
Oh, yeah.
a
Part of
title
someone's
of honor.
oeuvre.
Yes. Who is the auteur of this film?
Yeah.
I will say I did look it up. It is a male director, which I'm sorry, I'm biased against male directors, but
There's more of us, but we're less good at them. Yeah, that's
no. It's not that you're less good at them. It's just that there's more of you, so there's more opportunity to be bad at it.
Oh yeah, the numbers are not in the favor of male directors. That's for
But
sure.
it just
One of the writers was female.
Gary Winnick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I did not realize. Written by Josh Goldsmith and Kathy Uspa.
I don't know.
That is interesting
her.
that this was
Or
written by and directed by mostly men. I mean, granted, it's 2004, so we had so much farther to go.
The deep sigh, and I don't want
Look,
to.
as a white dude, I have to recognize that we done some shit.
No, I know, and I
As a
appreciate that. I
people.
appreciate the for the dudes that I know. I appreciate the perpetual apologies of white men. That like I know that everybody that I associate with recognizes that white men have been a problem, like just problematic. But that's also not to say that all white men are bad at movies,
Sure.
or bad at anything.
And I like
you know?
what you observe there with the sort of law of large numbers, where it's like, yeah, on average, sure, we as a people are fine, but there are enough shitty people in any demographic that the fact that white men have dominated film for so long means that minority of people have found their way into
and that's why
into the business.
That's why whenever people of color or marginalized communities make films and they're bad, they get extra
They're
scrutinized.
like, this is why we don't hire them.
Exactly.
And I hate them, and I'm gonna punch them in the face.
It's so ridiculous.
Such a terrible, yeah.
But it is if you literally let every woman on the planet direct a movie, some of them would
Some
be
of them are gonna
fucking
suck.
bad. Because it's just statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Patty
Yes.
Jenkins. She can make 2/3 of a good movie.
I thought she made total one good movie.
Total.
I think if you like add it all together, it's like
I'm
two
just talking
good
about the Wonder
movies.
Womans because I haven't seen Zero Dark 30.
Zero Dark 30 was actually really good.
I
all
haven't
the way
seen that
through.
one.
It
And
was
wait,
fun.
she did Hurt Locker too, right?
No, that was Catherine
that was
Bigelow.
good.
Oh, that's Catherine Bigelow. Sorry. Apologies.
That's okay.
Apologies to my female
I didn't know
directors.
that until he said it just then either.
I know that because in Hedwig and the Angry Inch, the musical that they're putting on is Hurt Locker, the musical.
What?
Yeah. In the Broadway production, in the new version.
Oh, I was
in the
like, wait a
revision.
minute.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Wait a minute. Isn't
I was
that
like,
Not-
wait,
not the movie. No, no, no.
what?
Hedwig's from like 1999?
I don't remember that.
I don't know.
But yes, in the Wonder Woman's, I think she made like 1 1/3 good movies.
Sure,
if you put them
yeah.
all, if you jam both Wonder Woman's women together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1/3 total.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. Yeah.
It's that third act that really gets. Honestly, I don't think that's her fault. I think that's DC's fault. DC, figure out your fucking third acts. Figure it out.
We've
DC,
been telling
we're
you for a
calling you
long
out
time.
right now.
Marvel did it. Could you
They
just
did.
watch a Marvel movie and then do that?
DC, if you'll sponsor this podcast, we'll
tell you
all of this.
Yeah.
Except I will not censor my dislike for Ezra Miller.
Oh yeah, no, we're taking your money and
that's
we're not doing
Yeah.
the Flash.
Terrible Flash.
I think there's a lot of
seen
potential
of these.
there that was not used properly.
I
don't want to punch him in
seen-
the face. He has a very punchable face.
He has a which is perfect for the Flash.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
Wall-E,
either
not,
Justice's League.
Don't
I saw Peacemaker.
say
That was enough.
That was amazing.
Peacemaker is great.
Did you like
I
it?
love Peacemaker.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? Of course I fucking love
I was gonna say okay. Yeah,
I
Peacemaker
love
was great.
Peacemaker.
Both the Suicide Squad and the Birds of Prey were really
I
good.
love Birds of Prey. I
Shazam.
love the Suicide Squad. I still haven't seen Shazam.
Shazam's great.
You're in
Shazam was
time
my
travel? Can
favorite.
we watch it together?
I don't. Well,
We can watch
There's
it together for funsies.
Yeah, there's no.
That's right.
I,
You don't get any commentary on that, friends at home.
Maybe if you start paying us on a Patreon or something, we'll.
There we go. We'll watch
Oh wait,
other
you have
movies.
Patreon?
No, we don't.
No, we don't. But
I
we
was gonna be
could.
like,
In
hey,
theory, we
everybody on
could.
Patreon. I'm really good at
That's
that.
a lot
Yeah,
of
we're not
work.
monetizing at all. We
No.
really ought to.
We really just do this to do this.
But also, like, good. Like,
Yeah. It's
there,
for fun.
sometimes there are things that don't need to be monetized.
We just wanted to talk to you about a movie. And Helena and, all
I
the
feel
other
so
people.
honored. I feel so honored.
Honored.
That's the honored is the Jewish pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Well, party people, I think that about does it for our review of 13 going on 30.
It
Yeah.
was great.
It was a great conversation. We covered a lot.
We did. We'll see how much ends up in the show.
Yeah, if you're still with us, thank you.
It's only been 45 minutes for them.
Oh,
That's
that's-
time travel.
That is, we're time travelers.
We are.
You should know it's been
time
3.5
travelers.
hours for us.
We're just enjoying hanging out.
It's true.
We're just friends.
Who cares that it's a school
Nicole
night?
hasn't hung out with people for a very long time. So
Ooh, this pandemic. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Oof.
it's been bad.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen your butt in so long. So long.
I was just about to show you my butt, but I don't know what my underwear is. So I second guessed
I was
it.
just making a comment about how many shows I've missed of yours. So Ben, was 13 going on 30 worth your time?
As someone who appreciated 13 going on 30 when it came out, I've always had a spot for it in my heart. But watching it now as an adult, I thought that I would encounter some elements that were like, maybe this doesn't hold up. Maybe this doesn't fit anymore. Maybe time flew by, but it didn't. It still has a place. It's still important. There are still messages that the modern audience need to hear from this movie, and it shouldn't be overlooked.
Do I feel like 13 going on 30 was worth it? Okay, put it this way. When this was the selection for our episode, I had literally watched this movie probably 2 weeks before that we said this is the selection for our episode. This is a piece of film, and yes, I call it film with a capital F. This is a piece of film that is transcendent of any era, that is transcendent of the time travel trope, but still gives the audience things to think about, things to reflect upon, and I think this is just a A++ movie.
Yeah.
And Ansel, as seeing this for the first time, at your current age, how do you see 13 going on 30 fitting with the modern era?
I really appreciated this film going into it as an adult for the first time because it meant that I was immediately in the shoes of Matty and Jenna, as opposed to looking at it as a teenager, looking forward to, that wish fulfillment side of it. I was immediately thrown into it from the cautionary side of oh yeah, well, if I keep making choices, would 13-year-old me be proud of the choices I've made to get to where I am now at in my 30s? And I think that that's equally useful as a viewpoint to take this film from. So yeah, was it worth my time? Absolutely. It was super fun. It was really enjoyable. It's a good love story. What did we decide to call him? The Ruffles?
Ruffles?
Yeah.
Mark Ruffles?
Jennifer and the Ruffles really have some great chemistry, and I really enjoyed this movie.
The childlike wonder and the charm of this movie are just things that need to be carried on throughout time.
I'm raising my hand so that I can be called upon, but it's very fascinating and invaluable to be reviewing this movie with two boys. That like, I mean, you're men, but boys. In that you found something valuable in watching this movie that is very, very much geared towards young women.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's part of the movie magic, right? Like, if you're watching something that isn't exactly your experience, you gain empathy by finding something to relate to in something like this. Mm-hmm. You're not just dismissing it because it's not your lived experience, you know?
Exactly.
I have a viewpoint into being a 16-year-old girl, a 13-year-old girl that I would not have had without this film.
You know, movies are a very important way for you to flex and work out your empathetic muscles. And more people need to work out those muscles because there are far too many people out there in this world who will just write it off as shit. You know, when in reality, by learning more about the people around you and their experiences, it can only enrich yourself. Mm-hmm. You know?
Deep.
Yeah.
Super deep.
And if you have super deep thoughts, you can find us online. You can engage with the conversation using the hashtag #Time2Party. That's the number 2 party.
You can also find us on the internet. You know, on Instagram and Twitter, I am at bsilverio20.
I'm at OG Nicole Keating at all platforms.
And I am at Indecisionist on Twitter and at The Indecisionist on Instagram. This has been an Indecisionist production. Special thanks to April Moralba for our podcast art, and to Marlon Longett of Marlon and the Shakes for our amazing theme song.
Party people, you know, like I always say, there's a lot of ways to party. Sometimes you want gum, sometimes you want candy, but then other times you get time to party where you get both. Like Razzles. Because we haven't talked about Razzles enough.
No, we mentioned Razzles at no point because Nicole doesn't know what Razzles are. But I'm glad you brought Razzles back.
You can still buy them, I found out.
You can. Get them on They're Amazon. A thing.
Amazon.
So party people, as you stock up on your Razzles, we just want to remind you to be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
He is doing the song that's not copyrighted. Bye, bye. Bye, bye.